Hi, this is Damien re AtHope, and I'm an Axiological Atheist, and I'm here with my guest. Could you please tell us your name and what kind of atheist you are?
Hi, my name is Jimmy Farmer. I guess my friends would call me a militant atheist. I just consider myself an open atheist. I'm very open about my atheism. I try not to cower, or I wouldn't say cower, but hide my atheism from anybody. If the subject of religion pops up, I'm very open to talk about mine.
Yeah, I usually call it, probably what you are is probably a firebrand atheist. To me, the militant's more than what they give, because to me, a militant usually, I mean, I understand, sometimes I joke about that word too, about militant atheist, but to me, militant usually means violence. It's some act of violence. So that's the difference in firebrand. Firebrand is just somebody who's very outspoken, very passionate, and fights for a cause. Any cause. I mean, so yeah, that's me too. I'm a firebrand atheist. So there basically, to me, is like three basic styles of atheism. I mean, there's more than that, but I'm just saying three basic categories. So the one first basic category would be us, to me, firebrand atheists. Then the lower than that would be just atheists that are not super active as far as like out pushing the message and stuff, but they're still really atheists that don't like religion or whatever. They just don't, like my wife. She's not really firebrand, but she hates religion with a fucking passion. I mean, she's friggin' militant minded, but does or firebrand minded, but doesn't do anything. So she's not really a firebrand atheist. She doesn't tell nobody at all. But if someone were to actually ask her, holy shit. So so there's people like that are not really firebrands, but they definitely are passionate. Then to me, or they could be not. But then to me, after someone who's just not really that active, then there's accommodationless atheists that basically say, let's all work together. Let's work with religion. Religion's not, doesn't have all bad qualities. Let's take some of those. Maybe, use their morality or something, whatever. Or, so there's different sides. That's definitely not me. And if you're a militant or say you are, you can't be accommodationalist because.
Right. It's the whole religion thinking they have this,
specialness.
It's just that they think that they have like a monopoly on morality, that they're the ones who came up with it. It's like we wouldn't have gotten where we were, even up to when religion started, if it wasn't for our own progressive movement of morality. So to say that they're the ones that started it, that's why any atheist, I have one friend that's like that. They say we should work, who cares what they think? Let's the Sermon on the Mount. It's like, oh yeah, that was a beautiful message, but that's not religion. I mean, that's just people. That's us coming up with that, but my wife is the same. She's a very closeted atheist. Like, she doesn't believe in any of the stuff. She tells me to kind of pull it back whenever her family's around for the holidays, and my little brother is the same way. He's in the closet. He doesn't talk much about it. Whereas me, I talk so much about it to where I've lost family members. Like when I say lost, I mean like lost communication with them. They totally shut me out. They don't want to talk to me because of it. And it just makes me speak louder when I see that a person's belief can do this to somebody.
Yeah, that reminds me. I've lost family too. Some of them I've removed also. Like my stepfather, who told me he didn't really like all the stuff I posted, and could I try to tone it down or whatever. And I said, I will fix the problem, and I unfriended his ass.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I said, no problem. Think. I mean, I love him. He's still my stepfather. I mean, but if what I post, is offending you, then you need to not be here because I am not stopping.
Right. I will say the family members that have stuck around on Facebook, like I always give them that option. They're the ones who decide if we're going to stay friends or, no, I wouldn't say stay friends, it's just the more stay in communication part on Facebook. I leave that up to them.
Right.
And I have to say the ones that have stayed, I'm very greatly appreciative, but even the ones who have deleted me, I went to my cousin's wedding and my aunt was there and she deleted me on Facebook. I thought it was just she didn't like seeing what I wrote. But I went to the wedding and man, she doesn't want anything to do with me. Like she told me to get away from her and I asked her why and she goes, because you post devil stuff. I said, oh man. So it hurt, that my family can do that, but it's kind of like, it just goes to show like the depth of indoctrination that goes with it. Like they don't believe the ways of Jesus. They just shun anything different than Jesus.
Yeah. So, you were raised religious, I would guess?
Well, I was, when I lived in Germany, religion was not really a part of my life.
Is that where you were born?
I was born in Fort Ord, California, on an army base. I don't really claim I was born there too much because I don't remember any of it. At a very young age, we moved to Germany. My mom's from there. But I remember growing up in Germany, religion was not a big part of my life. It was until I moved to the States when I was 9 years old that I was introduced to Southern Baptists. And man, like right away they got me. Like they made me feel like I was a sinner, a big sinner, and that I was worthless without Jesus.
Yeah, I know, at 9. Because at 9 years old, you did so many bad things.
Oh, I was awful. At 9 years old, if I even looked at a girl that I might have had a crush on, the preacher was already telling me that that's a distraction from the devil. That the devil sent her to distract me from what's right. And I'm just sitting there. I believed it. I was 9 years old. I didn't know any better. I've never heard of religion until I really came here. And so I grew up that way. I grew up with that mentality. I mean, I wore the "What Would Jesus Do" bracelets. I was baptized. I was very sheltered. I didn't do what everyone else was doing. Especially once I moved here, I lived in Natchez, Mississippi, and, like the epitome of, the epitome of basically Southern Baptists. Like that's where the epicenter I mean. And, I just look back at it now and I see what religion can do to a kid. And it's terrible, because they made me feel so worthless. That I was so worthless, like no one could help me. Not my parents, not my friends, not my siblings. It was only Jesus. And if I didn't accept Jesus' help, I would burn. And they preached it, that I would burn if I didn't accept Jesus. And I believed that way for a long time, up until I was probably 17, 18 years old. I believed that way. It wasn't until my sister she all of a sudden switched to Jehovah's Witnesses. And whenever they were trying to switch religions on me, that's when I kind of started thinking, wait a second, what's the difference? It's the same God, right? And they're like, oh, no, this is the right religion. Those are the false ones. Okay, who said that? And
Yeah.
They go, well, the Bible says that. And I was like, well, it's the same Bible they have. They say they're right. And so ever since that time, I really stopped going to church. And I only looked at the Bible as a guideline on how to live a good life, filled with stories on how to do good. And I only assumed that based on nothing. I never read the Bible. It wasn't until I was 22 years old, my best friend died in a motorcycle accident. And I went to his church. He was a Catholic. I went to his church for the wake, and couldn't believe what I was hearing. the preacher saying, you know, oh, God called him home. It was his time. You know, his time on earth was done. And I just kept thinking, like, and I didn't say it out loud, but I just kept thinking, like, what a selfish fucking God. Excuse me, friend. But I was just like, what about the kids at St. Jude? You know, and there's like all these questions going through my head. You know, like, what do these kids at St. Jude, they died. What was their purpose in life? You know, what did they fulfill yet? And since that day, that's when I started researching, and I read the Bible finally. And I read it front to back, and did more research on the history of all religions. And basically, that right there was the beginning of my losing of faith, I would say. Like, and then finally, once it hit, where I was like, holy, it's all fake. And once I accepted atheism, it was such a big, like a weight off my shoulders, you know? Like, I saw a meme that perfectly described it. It said, atheism, it's like taking a deep breath after being choked your entire life. And that was, like, exactly it. That's exactly how I felt.
That's good. So, at what age or point did you finally decide to be an atheist, or come to that conclusion, I should say?
I'm 27 now. I'll be 28 in April. But I would have to say, like, I became an atheist probably 4 years ago. 4.5 years ago, almost 5. But I didn't really become you said firebrand atheist.
Right.
Until probably 2 years ago.
What made it change?
The fact that one time I let a post slip, or not slip. I put a post on Facebook. I shouldn't say slip, but I put a post on Facebook, and it was basically a pro-atheist post, and I got so much hate from family about it, and it's just like every time I got a negative comment about it, it just made me talk louder. It was like, you're not going to silence me. You know, I don't ever say anything to y'all. I don't tell y'all to shut up about Jesus. You know, it's just, let me talk. What's wrong if I believe differently from you? I'm a great person still. It's still me. It's still Jimmy. You know, it doesn't mean that just because I don't believe in an afterlife that I'm some kind of immoral jerk. And I think that was the start of my firebrand atheism. Like I said, a year and a half ago, I started the Louisiana Atheist page. It's now up to 733 likes. I went to my
We'll see if we can change that. I said we'll see if we can change that for the better.
Can. But I've started a meetup group.
What's it called?
It's a Louisiana Atheist meetup.
Okay.
I tried to, what I had planned to do was do one here locally, one in New Orleans, and then maybe make it to Baton Rouge and just try and rotate around because I know a lot of people don't live where I do. So I just want to go to where they are and make the drive a little shorter for them. But I have to admit that, I have to be honest that it hasn't gone according to plan because of my job. I also, once I started this page, I also switched to a new job, and I've never had off days. And I finally started off days, so I'm trying to get back into the whole swing of things. But on my meetup, I have 20 members that are waiting, so I just got to help them out. I got to start doing it again.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I started my own meetup too when I was in California, and I brought it up to to Washington. I have about maybe 180 or something.
That's good.
Yeah. There's bigger groups here though. There's a whole bunch of atheist groups. There's ones that, even the biggest one, Seattle Atheist, has like 2,000 people.
That's huge. Yeah, there's a lot down here too. They got the skeptics and freethinkers of Hammond, and lot of little local groups like it was Local Atheists of New Orleans, and so like I said, there's a lot down here too. I feel like I do a disservice to the members that I do have that I haven't been trying to get the meetups going back up again. Like we've had a few, but when work took over, I had to put it on hold.
Yeah, well, it is good to have meetups because so many of us atheists feel like we're out here alone, you know.
Especially in the South. Like I said, you should see these. You should hear these people talk. I mean, I could tell my own stories about like the work group and everything, but you got to think a lot of people down here. Excuse me. Majority of them do work in an oil field industry because of where we live, and you'd be amazed. Like the majority of the oil field workers, you know, don't want to talk bad about them. A lot of them are good people, but as far as their education and ignorance wise, and when I say ignorance, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean like lack of information, or they don't know the information. You just hear them talk, and it's mind-boggling. Like I was on a boat the other day, and they asked me who I was voting for, and I told them, and they freaked out just because the name wasn't Donald Trump.
Oh God, who are you voting for?
Bernie Sanders.
Oh, cool.
That's my man right there.
Yeah, I like Bernie Sanders.
So yeah, but I'll vote. Like we got two good front runners in the Democratic Party. So you know, either way, I'd rather much see Bernie up there. But even if it's Hillary, it's still better than the 5 front runners of the Republican Party.
Oh God, yeah, they're awful.
It's crazy.
Especially Donald Trump, but a whole bunch of them are just racist, bigoted assholes.
And there is not only like add to that, they're also like to see them how they deny evidence and science. That's one of my big pet peeves. It's not only that they're racist and bigots, that gets me too, but it's how they deny the science is what really irks me. I mean, that like Louisiana made headlines about a month ago actually. We had a Democrat won the governor. I'm sorry. A Democrat won the governor's election, which is rare for a red state like Louisiana.
Yeah. Well, there's hope. Texas is starting to lose some of their, Republican strongholds. Well, I think I was asking you. Do you think it could be because it's the younger generation is becoming more informed?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're talking about. I don't know how old you are, but I know in my age, like I said, I'm 27. I witnessed how information went from being at a library, and I'm sure you did too. We witnessed information only being like we had to go to a library, go to an index card, search for the prefix and all that, and pick out our book. Well, now it's at the touch of literally your thumbs. Like, the information's out there. And you have this generation growing up only knowing that, all this information at their fingertips, basically. I think that a lot of them, majority of them, obviously, are running with that information. You know, they're trusting it.
Yeah, I'm in my 40s, so I definitely understand.
You look good for 40.
Well, thank you. I'm 40 something. I'm trying to think. I think I'm 44, 43. I don't know. I don't really care about that shit. So.
Nah, it's just a number.
Yep.
It's just more. It's more rotations around the sun.
Yeah. It's no big deal. Like you said, I don't look like it. I don't act like it. I just act like me.
Well, you're very active. That's one thing I've noticed through your Facebook posts that you're out there. You're very active in your
Firebrand atheism.
Yeah. My wife's talking to me.
Oh. So what you said? So I'm active. Well, so what have you seen in my posts?
seen where you go out to the colleges and you're out there with your billboards or your little your posts and all that, and just basically the community outreach. You're letting it goes to show that you're trying to start up a conversation, whether it be a good one or a bad one, but people are seeing it more, and that's what I think atheism needs, is a push in the right direction by being out in the public more. Instead of being in hiding, you should be out in public. I've been trying to do that. Our town has a nativity scene in their public square for Christmas, and I've been trying to ask them if I can bring a billboard out there or a little banner. Basically, nothing bad, but just, what the true meaning of the season is, the transition of the equinoxes and the winter solstice and all that. But they haven't answered me. I get a tone deaf ring when they see my name.
And who are you asking?
City council, if I can do it. I'm just basically, I feel like I want to go out there and just bring it anyway.
Go out where?
Huh?
Where do you want to hold a sign?
In City Park. It's a public square.
All right, you just answered your question right there. What is it? Public.
I don't get permission.
Public. Dude, I'm telling you, this is what you do. Do first, ask questions later. I'm telling you. Just freaking do. So even if let's just say it's private, okay? If it's public, you should be okay. Especially you don't block people and cause too much of a ruckus. In other words, like yelling and screaming. But sometimes you can do that. But it's usually, as long as you're not overtly bothering people. Public square should be fine. Like public colleges, as long I just call them and I go, "Are you a public or private?" And they're like, "We're public." Good, I'm coming.
There you go.
And sometimes they go, "Oh, well, you're supposed to get a thing," and I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting nothing." What's that?
They try to stop you?
Well, they say I have to get like a sign up or something, and I go, "I don't have to do that. It's public. Is this public property or private?" "Oh, it's public." Then I don't have to do that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't plan on yelling or anything. I just want to maybe put up a banner and maybe sit by it while it's up.
The sitting is usually harder. I sit a lot because of my ankle. My foot is damaged from a truck driving accident. But so there's a lot of standing is hard for me. It makes my foot hurt. But usually what they say is that if you put something down like a chair, they can ask you to move or whatever because you're could be obstructing stuff. They usually don't push that. I'm just telling you. So standing with a sign usually, all you have to do is you stay there until they call the police or they say that. And even when the police come, they don't just arrest you. First thing they do is, "Can you please leave?" As long as you say no problem and leave, you're fine. Things are on their side. You're allowed to do so, especially if when the police ask you if you just leave, if you do what they say, then nothing happens.
Yeah, it's good thing I guess about it for what I was saying I want to sit is they have benches out there, so I can just put the banner next to it.
See, now that's a good idea. Hold a banner, sit on their bench. Then they can't say anything.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I want to do it because it's, I understand that the nativity scene holds a lot of meaning to them, especially what it was built in. Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005 down here, and the cabin, it's a little cabin that they built the nativity scene in, but the cabin itself is built out of rubble from Katrina. So I understand it has a little meaning to them, but then I don't want them to take it down. What I'm trying to do is, okay, give me equal time. So that's what I want to try, is that they give me equal time too.
Yeah, I would definitely ask that, but I'm just saying, you have the right to go down there and hold a sign next to it or something. You definitely do.
Okay.
And all you have to do, like I said, is as soon as the police come, if they call the police or something, they ask you to move, you just immediately move. Say, oh, no problem. And then nothing will happen. The other thing I was going to say is, when you do a sign, you want to try to make it like mine, not a lot of talking, as much as possible. Some kind of, thing at it's easy to quickly read.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, this is like I said, I've embraced my atheism for a while now, but as far as like being an activist for it, I've done a lot on social media, like on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm not closeted about it, and I've even done the meetups too. The one thing I'm still new to is going out like you do. Like that's what I want to start doing, is let everyone know. So you're not alone. Like this is now out in public. You can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would tell you, if you're going to do that, make sure that you don't react to people.
Yeah.
In other words, when they come up, hey, what are you doing here? Don't feel defensive.
So I'm pretty good at that.
No, I'm not saying you're not. I'm just explaining it. Try not to be like, hey, how you doing? Don't let them push you around as far as how you behave. Because they'll come up sometimes and go, oh, well, atheism is just stupid. Don't get like immediately angry or something. Just go, oh, why do you think that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Try to, because a lot of them will be immediately hostile. And they have seriously bad, things. Not all, but, or they'll laugh, or they'll come, like, how do you think you know this? Or you have faith too. They'll like, a lot of times they try to like come with, they just start talking with red herrings, logical fallacies right off the bat, Oh, well, you're out here, then you agree atheism is a religion, right? You don't even answer that question, To me, when they say that, just to say, no, but then explain something else, say, do you believe in the natural world, Well, yeah. Well, that's what I do, and that's all I do. I don't add anything to nature. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, like like I said, I also have a question and answers page that I started, and I have there's a few questions we always ask. Everyone says, Jimmy, your atheism, the way you talk, is just like a religion. And I'll come back with something, after we discuss it a little while. I was like, well, actually, no, it's not. Not playing a sport is not considered a sport. I'm like, well, you preach about it enough. I was like, no, I talk. When I see pseudoscience, I try to throw out science next to it. I throw facts with it. But it's not being preachy. That's, just trying to, I guess, how would it be, engage your reasoning, engage questioning, engage your thought process. That's how I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to make you look at these factual things to start questioning your beliefs about it.
Right, so when you talk in public, just telling you, the best thing to do is accept what they say. If they say stuff, if that was true, you see what I'm saying? It's a way of talking. So you say to me, oh, Damien, atheism is a religion. I can fight it, but the problem is, if I say no, it's not, and then I give an explanation, they're still going to come back. I guarantee, almost, they're not going to accept what you have to say. I almost guarantee it, especially if they're really fanatical. They're going to keep pushing it. No, it's a religion. Oh, it's a religion. So then, instead of keep fighting them, that's not productive. You accept it, their premise. Okay, if it is true, then you're just saying that there's religion that doesn't need magic or God, because yours needs magic and God, correct? So, at that point, no, but then you reason with them. At that point, you're saying that some parts of religion are meaningless, are you not? So you're turning it back on them. So, right? That's what you're saying. It's meaningless. So, that's like saying, you're just saying that religion in a very offhanded thing, to where it's basically lost all its meaning, right? That's like saying football's a religion. in Texas. Well, what that does, it doesn't raise football to a higher status. What it actually you just did is lowered religion to meaninglessness.
Yeah.
So I okay, if you want to say that atheism allows religion to be meaningless, I do agree. Religion is meaningless. And then all of a sudden you turn from them making you defensive. Now they don't want religion to be there because you just said that they're making religion meaningless. I'm just saying that different. You basically, it's a way of taking their stuff and showing them their ignorance.
Right. And I just already know their comeback. But there's only one true religion. All other religions are crazy, but there's one true one.
And a good thing to say is always ask the question, how do you know that?
Right.
Well, I know that because of the Bible. And how do you know the Bible is right? Well, because of prophecy. How do you know the prophecies are right?
Oh, yeah. I've gotten into, I wouldn't say that I've ever been negative towards somebody. Like, I've never put them down for what they believe. But I do take pride in the fact that whenever I do get in debates or discussions, I try to be very, cordial about it, and I try to be nice and civil, and I never do name calling, but that doesn't stop them sometimes. And whenever the name calling starts, that's when I just stop it. I just go, okay, I go that way. But, what atheism has done personally for me is it's opened my eyes a lot to everything. Instead of listening to hearsay like I used to, I double check it. I check the facts and I try to base a conclusion off of those facts. I remember the one thing, like I said, I was brought up in Baptist, Southern Baptist, and their main every other Sunday was, gays are going to die for what they do. Gays are wrong. And so I always looked at that as like a main issue for gays, and I tell you what, the minute I became an atheist, I looked at it all and I go, man, I'm so wrong. It's all wrong. And then I go, wait, I'm also wrong. And the first thing that hit me was that the LGBT rights and all that, I was like, man, I am so wrong. I felt the urge to go and tell everyone in the LGBT community that I was sorry for how I thought. And I basically look at myself now as like a reformed homophobe because I was just so wrong. Like, it's in nature. How can it be so wrong if it's in nature? And so, like I said, that's one thing that really got me, and I started looking at humans different, like how they act. There should be a reason they act that way, and it's not just the devil that does it. There's a reason people act this way. Like, I had someone that whenever they cheated on their spouse, I thought that they were the worst person ever. And then I started really thinking about it. I was like, maybe they're just weak, then they messed up. It shouldn't be everyone's business. They messed up. Let them handle it themselves. And I kind of just pulled away from all the gossipy parts of religion, I guess. Everyone wants to talk about this and that, and I kind of try to shut them up, and I go, why? Did something happen? Did they do this? No? Well, then why are we talking about it? It's no big issue.
All right.
But that's I said that's one reason I'm very happy that I became an atheist. Like I said, it's funny that whenever I became an atheist too, my views all of a sudden switched with those of what everyone calls is a liberal, and a Democrat. It's just my view on human rights changed more than when I was a Christian. And I was being taught that Jesus loved everybody. Treat your neighbor how you want to treat yourself. Yeah, you can say that, and if you messed up, you just pray about it. Everything's okay once you ask for forgiveness. You don't have to do it. Just say you're sorry you did. But now it's like once I switched, I finally can own up to my own. Like, whatever's happened to me, I take full ownership of it. If I didn't do it, it wasn't because someone motivated me to do it or not do it. It was just, you know.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I wanted to ask you too. So what are your goals? Your goals is to build your group up more, like you were saying. Are you going to start a group page on Facebook?
My goal, I know it sounds very selfish, and I hope it doesn't, but I do want to start. I do want to start making, YouTube videos. I want to just get it out there, especially in the South, because it's a.
Why is that selfish?
Huh?
I'm just asking. Why do you think that's selfish?
I don't know. I guess because I look at it as like, yeah, a good message can be put out, but then it's like, it seems like if I do the YouTube videos, it just makes it look like, I don't know, maybe I have a wrong thinking about it.
One way to put it is, whatever you're thinking, just say that's what I am. Tell me, Damien, you're selfish for having YouTube videos.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, you're not. I'm sorry.
The point is that of seeing that it's how the error of what you're thinking is. If you're saying that it's that way, well, then it's that way. If that's a truth, that would be a truth for everybody.
Well, like,
or certainly, or it's probably not true.
You're right. The way I'm looking at it, I guess, is there are already so many out there.
Mm-hmm.
So is it selfish for me to want to join in on that? That's how I meant it. I don't mean everyone who does it is selfish. They just want this me. I just feel like there's so many doing such a good job. What would it do if I jumped in? Like, does it have meaning, or is it just, do I want my face out there kind of thing? But that's what I meant by it.
So, do you think you have something to say?
Yeah.
Well, then you answered your own question.
It's good having an older, more wise atheist talking to me.
Dude,
I don't have to down here.
So I ask you, how much is too much if the problem is still there? If the problem is still there, how much is too much? To me, we all need to come out. We all need to do stuff, do videos, do books, we need to flood the market with stuff so that they've already flooded the market with religion. I mean, it's freaking everywhere. You can't even get away from it. So, I mean, we do need, all of us need to be active. I mean, I would appreciate, not that we have to, but I mean, I appreciate all of us doing stuff. I mean, we need to be active. That is what makes change. Inaction breeds nothing but the same. You'll have to settle for what you are already doing. If everything is okay to you, then don't do nothing. But if it's not okay with you, freaking speak out, man. Do something.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I didn't think of it that way. Like I said, I guess, like I said, down here, the more I talk, it just seems like I lose more friends. And I looked at it like there are so many people, like I said earlier, doing all this talking. Instead of me joining the field, maybe I just share their post, and I just felt like it was selfish of me to want to join in. But now, how you put it, I guess that's a better way of thinking.
Well, no, and I agree. We all do activism by supporting activists. That I do agree with. Everyone should support people that are out there.
Yeah.
But everyone who can should also be out there.
Yeah, you're right.
And I try to do both. I try to support people that are out there, people that to get out there, and then people can share me and support me.
Yeah. No, like I said, you're right. I just, I guess, like I said, there's not really much that I have. It just seems like it's me only down here doing it. I have no one to sit there and maybe tell me, said, "Oh, Jimmy, maybe you should push it. Maybe you should do it." Or Jimmy, not that maybe you should do it. Like I said, I don't have that down here. Everything that I try to decide is basically on my own conscience. That I try to decide whether to do it or not. And have my own reasonings. Like I make up my own reasonings why I should or why I shouldn't.
Well, you could also ask someone in the group. You had 28 people. You could ask the group, send private messages through Meetup, and ask if anyone wants to help you. Yeah. I mean, don't assume that at 28 people in your area and no one wants to help.
Yeah, no, you're right. I've wanted to try and get a like when I went to American Atheists, that convention, I remember they had this grieving without
grief beyond belief.
Yeah, grief beyond belief. I wanted to try and do that down here, and then also we could find counselors. I wanted to try to do like a Alcoholics Anonymous for non-believers, because a lot of people that say they go to those AA meetings, there's a kind of religious.
Oh, they are.
Huh?
Oh, they are religious.
Yeah,
I was in AA for 20 years.
Right. See, that's one thing I want to try. I wanted to try and do that and offer that to people. And because I remember I had a friend contact me asking me if I knew any AAs that didn't have a religious background to it. And I was like,
I have secular resources to give you.
Okay, you message me those.
I will.
That will help.
Actually, I could also give you my my webpage. I have a page that says about it.
Okay. Yeah, that'll work too.
Yeah, because there's actually a couple different secular organizations that you could hook up with, and if there isn't meetings there, which I think there probably is, you could start one under their banner.
Start one under their banner, you said?
You know what I'm saying? Like affiliate with them, and probably start a group with using their stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Like I said, that was what I wanted to do, and like I said, we're kind of. I know it sounds like a lot of excuses, and I need to get back on track with what I planned, because everything's rolling smooth at work now, so I should be able to start back with my activism part of atheism.
And like I said too, ask people for help. You have a page. You said Louisiana Atheists, 700 people, whatever. Put out a thing and say, look, this is some goals of mine. Is anyone interested in helping? I mean, it's amazing to me how often we don't ask for help.
Yeah, you're right.
Because we feel somehow it's not okay, or that we have to know everything. Dude, I'm telling you, go ask people. Get some help. I mean, I'm not saying everyone's going to be accommodating, but someone will. Someone will care.
It's better to ask than not to ask.
Because look, if you ask and say no, and you weren't going to do it anyways, what's the difference? You haven't lost anything. But if someone says yes, now you have help.
Right. Yeah, you're right. And
So,
I work on that.
And most atheists are usually pretty willing to help.
Oh yeah, I've realized that. I got one buddy that helps me run the page. He lives right down the road from me. He's always very willing to help. And I actually have a friend that's a member of the Satanic Temple. He's always willing to help. He just recently relocated. He used to live in New Orleans. He just relocated to Natchez, Mississippi. But he's a pretty cool dude. He actually had a meetup. He was one of our first meetup we had. He came, and he's always keeping in touch with me, asking if what do I think of his ideas? Would I support it? And I was like, heck yeah, let me know whenever you're doing it. And he said, so far nothing has come with it, but just the ideas going, and I like him. He's really good at with his ideas.
That's cool. So how is your family treating you now? The ones that are not gone.
Well, I have an older sister that is a Jehovah's Witness, and she's pretty much stopped talking to me. Only if she has to, she'll talk to me. I have a younger sister who is trying to become a Jehovah's Witness, and she's following down that same path. My mom is an excommunicated Jehovah's Witness, and so she kind of falls in line with what I believe. Me and her have a good relationship. My dad, he doesn't care. He's a Baptist. He said he's going to believe what he's going to believe. That's what he grew up with, but he doesn't say anything to me. You know, he never brings it up, so that's one thing I can respect. Like, I never try to bring it up around him. We just, when it's me and him, we're father and son. We're not different religions.
That's good.
Immediate, like, you know, like I said, it's still have a few cousins that talk to me, but then I have the ones that kind of stop, and it's really most of my aunts and my uncles from Natchez that have stopped talking to me. They've just, you know, they're deep Southern Baptists. Like, if I say anything about their religion, they just out of my life, out of their life. They don't need to hear it.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah. Her, my wife's family, my in-laws, her grandparents know, and her mom knows, but they're still okay. I mean, they still love me. Her mom, my mother-in-law, when she first found out, she kind of freaked out. She was wondering how we're going to raise our kids, but it all calmed down. It's all back to normal.
So, is your wife an atheist?
Say that again?
Is your wife an atheist?
Yes. And in the closet atheist.
Was she talking to you?
Yeah. She said, that's not true.
It's not true she's an atheist?
No, it's not true that she's in the closet.
Oh.
Which I think she is. She doesn't say much to her family, so. Big dog.
So speaking about raising your kids, have you decided how you're going to do that? To me, there's kind of like two styles. There's secular parenting and atheist parenting. Secular parenting doesn't really push atheism at all. It basically gives all the religions to the child and teaches them how to think, and allows them to choose. To me, atheist parenting says atheism in a sense is true. It may teach other religions, but teaches them how to fight against it, shows how they're wrong. Does a little more explaining than just allowing the child to come to it.
Yeah, I think I would follow more along the atheism teaching then.
So would I. I always tell people, so you believe that we should give false things and then allow a child to figure out what's false.
Right.
I have a question. So do you teach flat earth along with round earth and let the child choose? No, I would never do that. Neither would I act like religion is true.
Well, see, down here, the reason why I would do it is down here, I don't know what this new governor is going to do with the whole, like Bobby Jindal signed in this law that allows creationism to be taught in school.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so we have that being taught down here. That's why I say I don't know what this new governor is going to do. He's a very liberal Democrat. That's why it was such a big surprise that he won. You know, but I'll see what happens. Like, my kids are only 4.5. My son is only in preschool right now. He just started school. And then I have a 1-year-old who's 14 months actually. But if that is being taught as the alternative in schools, I'm going to follow along the whole, even if it's not, but I'm going to push it more if it is that, you know, even though atheism is a non-belief, it is the right way to live your life. It's like taking in factual things, and making your own conclusion based on facts, not by faith, not by word of mouth, but to follow the evidence and make your judgment off that evidence. That's what I'm going to try and push, and I would see that as the atheist way. Because if I went the secular route and just go, yeah, this is what they all are, you decide. I don't think I can do that to them.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that to them. It's not that I don't think I could. I don't want to. Because, like I said, when I moved to the States, I was 9 years old. Like, of course, I didn't have this buffet of religions to choose from, but just to see how impressionable I was at such a young age, I don't think that I should give them the choice to choose.
Yeah.
And that I'm scared that they'll take it, and whoever they listen to, they'll be so easily influenced.
Well, yeah, I think it's important to teach children critical thinking.
Oh yeah.
There's a website, International Critical Thinking, I can give you, dude. They have tons of resources, tons, about how to critical think and stuff. It's and they do want to get taught in school. I really want schools to teach critical thinking. That would solve a lot of our problems. But people understand too, like sometimes like critical thinking is doubt. No, critical thinking is not doubt. Critical thinking is analyzing and challenging everything you're presented. It's not really doubt. It's basically, to me, it's a form of rationalism. When you're presented something, the first thing you think is, what are you talking about? And you try to understand it, and then you see if it's worthy of even accepting.
Yeah. To me, teaching that kind of doubt kind of lines up and kind of falls in line with conspiracy theory to me. Like, if you can, what I meant by that is, like, I just feel like if you teach skepticism to such a point to where you think doubt, that it can lead to stuff like conspiracy theories. And that's not what I want. Of course, it's just my own opinion. But I would much rather they look at true stuff, try to analyze it, like you said, use critical thinking, and if you can come up with the same answer that was using the same method, then I think you're doing a good job.
Yeah. Definitely good. But yeah, I agree with you. Teach the truth and then teach them how to understand what is true, what is not. So yeah, that's that's my thing. I present a bunch of falsehood as possible is not. I just doesn't make any sense to me.
Really
but
got dark in here.
That's fine. But I mean, if other people want to teach their children different, that's fine. That just doesn't make any sense to me. But so I think you're gonna. What's wrong? Light in your face? What is that? Oh, that's fine. So in being online, how has it felt? You know, when did you start being out online? You said you started a mem. Was it said 2 years ago?
No, I shared a post that was it wasn't mem. It was Christopher Hitchens thing. Like I said, it was, but it wasn't bad. It was just like it wasn't more Christopher Hitchens like. It was more, like I said, pro-atheism. And ever since then, it just, everyone knew I was an atheist. That's how it came back to my mother-in-law that I was an atheist, because I had friends on Facebook that she was friends with, and they saw it and told her. But like I said, I think the friends that have stuck around, I get a lot of messages telling me, saying, man, Jimmy, I really appreciate you talking out like you do. It's refreshing to see on Facebook. So as much as I would like to say there's a negative side, or as much as I say there's a negative side, there is also a very good positive reception to what I'm saying. A lot of people do agree with it, and I get a lot of like I said, messages that tell me thank you, and sometimes they'll talk to me about advice. There's one person, they had a sister that lost their baby. They're asking me how should I console her if I don't believe in all that, and I just kind of told her, I said, well, the best thing to do is not to say she's in a better place. I guess just to be there and comfort her. But don't tell her anything, that would hurt her more.
Yeah. So I would imagine you probably have to talk to a lot of people down there because of Katrina about grief, right?
I had two friends that would sit there and ask me about, whenever it happened, they were talking about why it happened to them. Like, they used to be religious, and then to them, Katrina is the whole reason why they stopped becoming religious. And so it's not really much of a talking to them about how to console them. It's more of like we talk with each other because that was the life event that changed them. Like they always looked at it like, we were such believers. Why did we lose our house, to the storm, yet there are other people who are worse than us that didn't lose their house. Those are the questions that they would think, and it led them to atheism. So I said that was their life event that changed them, and we just talked about that more than anything. I haven't had to talk about their grieving process because that was, whenever Katrina happened, that's when I was still a believer.
Right.
I didn't know how to handle it. It was tough. My wife, she was just my high school sweetheart. She was my girlfriend at the time. They had 2 feet of water. They had about 2 feet of water in their trailer, and it sat on 4-foot stilts. So they got a lot of water, and they were devastated. They were living in a FEMA trailer for almost a year and a half. About a little over a year and a half in a FEMA trailer.
Wow.
So I experienced a lot of it down here, but during that time I was also a believer. I did the whole pray to God, make it better, and it didn't right away.
Well, yeah.
Obviously, right?
Yeah, prayer works really good to do nothing.
Yeah. I asked someone the other day. They go, "Oh, prayer works." I was like, "It does." Why don't you pray for your buddy to grow his life back? They're like, "It doesn't work that way, Jimmy." That's right. It doesn't work.
Exactly. Yeah, and also there's been prayer studies that have proved that. There's been several prayer studies
I shared the study. It actually showed that those who told, I don't know if we're talking about the same study. I shared a similar study. It was a prayer group. They had 3 groups. The one group was told that they were not. They didn't. No. There's one group that said that they weren't going to be prayed for. Another group that said they were praying for them, and one group they didn't say anything to. And it was actually the group that said that they told that they were praying for them. They actually were in such such a big depression because they felt that they were going to die, that they needed prayer. It actually affected them more mentally than the other 2 groups.
Yeah, I know. I think it's called the Templeton study. I know the one you're talking about, though. It had to do with heart patients, and the heart patients that were told actually had more complications because they had stress on their heart because they were so worried about the prayer not working.
Yeah.
They were so anxious. So they coined a phrase on that study called prayer anxiety, which is hilarious. Prayer anxiety.
Yeah. There's I always thought that I don't believe prayer works at all, but I believe like for some people it might help. It might be their placebo. You know what I mean? But
Well, it won't be might be. It would be placebo or nothing because there is no such thing as magic.
right, that's exactly what I meant. Like
Yeah.
for some, it makes them feel better, so it could put their body in a positive mood and less stress to kind of help the recovery. But that doesn't mean that it healed you. That doesn't mean it cured your cancer. You know, so I'm, like I said, to some degree, I understand that it can help people. But it doesn't mean it heals. Like you said, it's not magic.
No, it's not magic.
Like I could, to some other people, like they just might read a good book that puts them in a better mood, makes them feel better, and they start healing. That's their placebo. It's placebo, really it.
Well, I always tell people if you pray to an imaginary being, you get imaginary help.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, I think it's funny is people when the Christians walk away, especially on I do outreach, you know, they don't do that so much recently, but before they have, where I'll pray for you.
No, I get that. I get that a lot down here. I'll pray for you.
I call those threat prayers.
That's how I take them too. It's like, for what? Well, you're going to go to hell if you don't change, Jimmy. It's like, who told you I am? You probably live better. I was like, I probably live a more moral life than you do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I look at it like, you know, I don't need an imaginary God or a book to tell me what's right or wrong. I just know what's right or wrong, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job at it. You know, I take care of my family, take care of my friends, take care of my kids. I try to be good to people. I try to help my fellow man. And I try to donate when I can. So I think I'm doing pretty good without the hopes of reward, you know, for in the afterlife.
Yeah. Well, that's the most important thing that happened for me was once I realized that there was no afterlife, this life started making a lot more importance, you know, about what I did, who I did stuff with. So I agree. That's why I always laugh when they say, oh, atheists can't, you know, care about people who have morals. What are you talking about? That's all we have. We don't have magic, so all we have is us. So, yeah, actually, we could devote more energy to our loved ones because what else are we doing? We don't devote it towards imaginary beings. They spend most of their time, most of their love towards this imaginary being instead of using that love for their family, for their friends, for the people around them.
Yeah, no, like you said, I got two sisters that are Jehovah's Witnesses, and well, one is a Jehovah's Witness, way into it. Like her husband is an elder in the church, which is a high standing.
I can send you. I did an article on my website about Jehovah's Witness, how they're sexist.
Yeah, I shared it.
Oh, you did?
With my sister. That was when I first became friends with you on Facebook. I shared it, and my sister, when she was my Facebook friend, she read it, and she just, I don't even have time to read this.
Oh, yeah.
What is this guy Jehovah's Witness or something? Where does he come off? And I'm just like, what do you mean? It's basic observation, Leo. Like, anyone looking out and looking in can see what's wrong. Like, you know, I mean, y'all are in it, y'all don't see it, y'all are taught this way. Y'all think it's normal.
Right.
But, no, my sister said that to me one time. She goes, you don't believe in anything. Like, why do you even live? Like, what's the purpose of your life if you don't think there's an afterlife? And I just, like, I got real mad at her. I was like, you know, I said, you know what? My family is the reason why I live. But then she also twisted it away. She goes, if I didn't believe, I don't know what I would do in my life. My life would be worthless. And that's when I got real mad. I was like, you know, you do a disservice to your husband and your little boy by thinking that they're not worth your life. Like, they're not worth a life. It's you're just here waiting for what's going to happen when you're dead. It was like, you know, that sucks. Like, I love my life because of my wife and my two boys, and I take in, ever since I became an atheist, I take in more of my time with them than I used to. Like, I take advantage of every day with them because I know once it's over, it's over. You know, don't get me wrong, there is like a sub part of me that really wishes it could go on and I could see my kids and their kids and their kids, but I know it's going to end. I know it is. It's a harsh truth, but so that's more reason to take in every day for what it is.
Definitely. And that's an important thing to do, to remember that this life is the one that matters. I always tell people, okay, even if you're right, there could be some afterlife. We do not know that. What we do know, though, is this life matters. So, I mean, you should focus on that. And Friedrich Nietzsche called them other worldsmen, people that are like waiting their life for the next one. But I always say that if you have to wait to live for the next life, then you're just wasting this one. It really doesn't even matter.
Well, yeah. Like I said, that didn't become more apparent to me than, like I said, once I became an atheist, was like, let's not waste. I can't waste this life, like you just said. I want to do stuff. Sometimes I have to slow myself down because, I want, even though, my finances might not allow it. But I just try to make sure I take it all in, like even small things when my kids are playing with each other and they're laughing. It's just, it's stuff like that that I really enjoy.
Yeah, that's good to live that, and it's amazing that they think that we can't have good lives. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, no, we're immoral. We're immoral. Like I actually had some. It was actually my sister. My sister said this to me. She said, "If there is no God, what's keeping you from killing people?" And I was like, "What? What's keeping you from killing people?" I was like, "Is it really God is keeping you from killing people? Like, if you found out the Bible isn't real, you would really kill someone, Leah?" She goes, "Well, I don't think I would." I was like, "Okay then. Why do you think I will?"
It's so ridiculous because you could turn it around her. But if God said it was right for you to kill, or that you had to kill, or you're sinning otherwise, then you would kill, correct? So really, it's not morality. It's just authority. You're just following whatever is said. So there's no morality involved. Morality is understanding that something is right or wrong. Doing something because you're told doesn't make it right or wrong. Inherently, you're just doing what's told.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I did turn that around on her. I tried to tell her. I was like, your God says it's okay to kill, and she came up with a whole argument. No, that's the Old Covenant. That's the Old Testament. Jesus came, and that doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, but just think, this God that you call moral killed the whole earth.
Oh, yeah. I bring up that argument all the time. Like, I think it's I hate using such brash words, but I think it's the stupidest argument I hear from them is that's the Old Testament. Jesus came and fixed it. I'm just like, well, okay, depending on what you believe in, you believe Jesus is God or that he's the Son of God. Well, he is God. I was like, so then he did this. If he did this and it was okay, if he's all-knowing, all-powerful, and perfect, why did he have to come back and say, oh, guys, I messed up. That way that I used to do it, not the right way. This way, this is going to be gravy train from now on.
I know, that's how I tell people too. Why all this rigmarole? Why not just do it all from the beginning? Why not just right from the time of the Ten Commandments? Why not just teach Jesus right then? Well, I mean, really, I mean, or prophesy and say that the person Jesus is going to come. I mean, it's.
I agree, and like I said, that's one thing that when I was a believer that I never questioned it. You know, there was maybe once or twice when I heard the Holy Trinity, I maybe wondered about it, but that's as far as it went. It wasn't until I really started researching and questioning it that I was just like, okay, anyone with a working rational brain would say, wait, this doesn't make sense. Why do you do this way and kill all these people in between? If he's all loving and all knowing and all powerful, why didn't he just do it from the beginning? Or how David Silverman said, you know, if he's all knowing and he knew Adam and Eve would sin because of that tree, why didn't he just not put the tree there?
Well, that's what I told this one guy when he said, you know, God's all loving, and then I couldn't know what morality is, and I was like, no, that's wrong. You don't know what morality is. I said, just think. You said original sin, okay. So original sin is the hypothesis that a loving father put a deadly thing in front of his children who were too young to know morality, because in the story, even though Adam and Eve are adults, and you're led to believe, I guess, because we really don't even know that. They could have been children. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't say like their age. I think when Adam and Eve is created, they're created, I think, as adults, I believe.
At least old enough to procreate.
Right, I think it's adults anyway. So, but just because they're adults doesn't mean they understand, because the tree they supposedly ate from is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you don't have knowledge of good and evil, then you don't have understanding of morality. You can't.
Exactly.
If you're removed from that, you're not even understanding what a moral choice is, because you do not understand what is good and what is evil. So you couldn't possibly. So that I tell him, but let's just say a loving father. So he not only puts something deadly, like say a father has, you know, some young children and puts a gun down there loaded, right? So he's already done something wrong to me just by putting, like Silverman said, put the tree there. But then worse, allows the neighborhood child molester to come and talk to the kids, knowing that he was doing it, and getting them to use the gun on each other. And then blaming the child for all of it. Worse than that, I say, let's just say Adam and Eve didn't eat the tree. Let's say that they were great, they listened to God, didn't do it. Would the tree go away? No. So basically it's a booby trap, waiting for the first human to do it. And then God, once they do it, is going to blame not just the person who does it, who is actually ignorant of morality, but the rest of time. That's the most immoral thing I've ever heard. Even, just think, even insane Hitler would not persecute people because of what someone else did thousands of years ago. I mean, it's so irrational, it doesn't even make sense. It's a psychopath. It's the only thing you can explain. It's a sadistic psychopath. Someone who likes to see someone suffer. Because you can't possibly explain any other way. Because you have to think, not only are you born sinful, right? It said that God changed the world. That meant to some Christians, that means that animals used to be vegetarian. They started eating each other, and all of a sudden we got bacteria, and we got stuff killing us, and poison, and plants, and everything that hurt humans. That supposedly before the fall, everything was edible and everything was okay, fruit-wise and everything. So not only does God supposedly do this immoral act towards non-moral beings, then he actually blames every generation after, which is insane. Then he changes the world to make it dangerous and hurtful to us because of it. It's just like one immoral thing after another. It's the most insane thing to think that God is perfect. It's just like makes me want to vomit in my mouth. That God is just. No way. No way! That God is loving. That's insane to say that. Just on the Genesis story alone, it's like they go, answers in Genesis. Yeah, your answer to the Bible's bullshit is in Genesis. Right there at the tree. You should be able to...
I love it. When I would bring that up, they just go, Jimmy, our thinking is less than God. Our thinking is lower than God's thinking. Like that's, to God, that was righteous. And I would just say, I was like, yeah, but think of it this way then. I was like, you know, would you have done that if you were a God? No? I was like, okay, there you go.
Yeah. Well, you could also ask him too.
So, you just showed you're more moral than your God.
That's true. And you could also say to him, so is there something that God could do that would be immoral? In other words, could he kill people? Could he do genocide? You know, could he make someone be raped? Could he make a child, suffer? Is there something, or you're just saying that anything that happens and God does is moral?
Yeah. I actually, like I said, going to the Adam and Eve story, like I bring that up too. You know, I say, it's funny that the downfall of man was knowledge. It's like that is what basically I think is such a good example of the church, that it's knowledge is sinful, listen to us. We'll show you the right way.
Yep.
No. You don't need knowledge. You just need the church. Because you want what happened to Adam and Eve to happen to you? That's how I look at the church, is they just try to keep everyone so ignorant for their own personal growth. And it's just, I used to be that way, and it wasn't until I got away from it to where I realized how bad it was.
Well, that's good. Do you have any other questions that you want to ask me?
How long have you been an atheist?
I've been an atheist for about, I think, 9-10 years.
Really?
Yeah.
What made you?
Well, I was raised till 13 in a religious cult, kind of like Jehovah's Witness, and it was called the local church. Anyways, then I at 13 went to live with my mom, and she was an evangelical Pentecostal, like the dancing in the aisles and all that, and speaking in tongues, and I thought my father and my mother, both their religions of Christianity, I thought was a little bit wacko. But once I just believed that their thing was a little bit on the extreme. But I got sober because I was a drug addict and an alcoholic, and I got sober and I was sober about 18 years, and I thought, man, I think I want to sometime around there, maybe 17 years, I can't remember exactly. But I thought, I want to be a drug and alcohol counselor. I want to go out and help people. I was still a Christian, so I wanted to go to a Christian college, but I couldn't get in. And so I got into a secular college, which I'm glad, because that actually helped me. Because they told me because I wanted to be a drug and alcohol counselor, and the different things I wanted to do, that I should probably take a course, or I had to take a course on comparative religions. And I couldn't even name 5 religions. I mean, I was really ignorant. I was a Christian, and I read the Bible twice. So you didn't read the Bible, I did. I read the Bible twice, and to me the only religion was Christian, so I didn't even care. But having to learn 10 different religions, one a week, had to write a paper on it and read about it, I started going, man, all of them kind of have the same kind of message, all of them, including mine, that basically we know how you should live your life, what morality is, and only ours is correct. There's an afterlife, and only we know the right one.
Yep.
And we know how to get there. This includes Buddhism. I mean, all of them. They all say that their way Only way really to get there. Some religions in Asia and some forms of Buddhism allows you to mix Buddhism with other religions, but it's still basically saying the same kind of thing. Like in Shinto in Japan, they sometimes they use Buddhism as their form of like morality or whatever. They use Shinto for some of their stuff. So sometimes, but still, the point is these things all think that somehow you need them. We can't survive like you know, be a good person. We can't do things, navigate life without their nonsense. They all say that, you know. So I started going, you know, if all of them are wrong, and they all seem to be saying something, you know. And then I realized they all have kind of like a golden rule, you know. They all, you know, almost like they all say, "Do unto others as you know, do unto you." They all kind of say something like that. Not exactly, but they all kind of say something. I thought, you know, what if this is just man-made? You know, that maybe we just generally like to be, you know, have some kind of moral structure that we all just do this. Like you said, the critical thinking, we all kind of come to the same kind of close to thing that we should all, you know, be good people. And but then I wasn't still, I was just kind of like, I wasn't really doubting God or anything. I was just thinking maybe that, you know, some of the rules that were added to the Bible or something might have been false. But I never doubted God. And then it made me take a class on the Bible. I thought, whoa, I'm going to get an A in this class. Shit, man, I'm a devout Christian and read the Bible twice. I'm gonna ace this class. Oh shit! It was like drowning, man. They started off and they're oh, by the way, Exodus was the first book written in the Bible. I'm like, what? And Genesis wasn't written like 100 or 150 years afterwards, and it was written. And Genesis was written by like 3 people. Or different authors and stuff, at least 2, you know, different authors, and I just like, I felt like I was like, you know, suffocating, like whoa, drowning, like all these facts were just like piling up to where I couldn't breathe, because I wanted to keep believing, you know what I'm saying? So I want to keep believing, but to keep piling stuff that makes me feel like it's very hard, you know, they keep showing me like whoa shit, and so it was a lot of like archaeological facts that and how the you know, story of Noah matches with the Emu Elish, the you know, the basic epic of Gilgamesh and all, and they proved it and showed it on, and they showed a correlation. They made us do a correlation where we showed how many things were similar. Dude, there's like tons. Like one is Noah lets go a dove. The other people, they let go a raven. I mean, they come back with an olive branch, you know. The different things, and like, oh my god, this is like almost the same. It's you read the Epic of Gilgamesh. There's a lot of things, especially if you really pay attention. There's a lot of things the same. But that just made me kind of doubting. But I still thought maybe God's real. But I was really starting to doubt. That class was slowly like, but halfway through the class, they got to Satan, devil, Lucifer, the serpent, and they showed how not one of those was the same thing. That really, if you analyze when those are talked about, every single one of those is a different person or a different thing they're talking about. And it just blew me away, especially in Genesis. They showed us, and I read the verse, and it was like I never read it before. It says that the serpent, right, you know, the supposedly tempted Adam and Eve, the serpent is the most crafty of the creatures created in the garden. So it wasn't no fallen angel. It wasn't fallen anything. And, you know, in the story, I'm not saying the story is real. I'm just saying, it, you know, as pertains to the story. And I read that, and I just was like, I called my mom. Mom, did you know it says that? Because I was like, all of a sudden, like shocked. Like, you know, I kept, and she's like, yeah, but Paul says it's fallen angel. That doesn't even match that. And right there, I was like, oh my God, I don't believe this. I'm done. I halfway through the class, I'm like, I I didn't even know what an atheist was. I'd never read an atheist book. I never read an atheist blog. Never had an atheist friend. I knew jack shit about atheism.
Same here.
Yeah, because we're not taught. I just was like, I can't believe this. The Bible's bullshit. I didn't know what that meant in my life. It was kind of scary, and I mean, dude, I got like hot flash over me because I realized I'm done. But then it was scary because, well, what the fuck do I do now? It's like everything I believe, my whole life, my whole worldview, my friends, family, it's all going to be gone. I didn't even know what to do. How do I live life? Oh shit, man. It was a blow to me big time.
Yeah.
That's why I laughed when I talked to Ray Comfort one time. You know who he is?
You talked to him?
Yeah.
The banana?
The Banana Man, yeah. Yeah, I talked to him more than once, really, but so I talked to him out in the street, and now you made me forget what I was going to say. I remember now. I remember. Sorry. It just Ray Comfort said to me, "Well, I wasn't a real Christian." He said, "I must not have been a real Christian, otherwise I wouldn't be an atheist." And I was like, "That is bullshit," because let me tell you, I didn't even know what atheist was. I was totally devout. I wanted to do Christian counseling. I mean, I was totally gung ho. Dude, I didn't even look to be an atheist. I went to college. They told me stuff. I couldn't keep believing. It was that simple. It wasn't like because you're just an angry. No, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go, fuck the church or, No, it's nothing. I wanted to help the religion. I wanted to, be a part of it. I was totally gung ho. So that's just total, fallacy that no true Scotsman that I wasn't a Christian. Hell yeah, I was a Christian. And then I laugh and they go, well, you probably didn't read the Bible. I read the Bible twice. I read the NIV and the King James.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of his. I've watched a lot of his videos, like debates between him and then just his little street preaching that he did. And I heard that too. Like he would sit there and go up to people, "Oh, you weren't a true Christian, man."
Yeah.
How do you know that, man? What are you mad because when I hear that, I basically want to say, oh, you mean I wasn't really stupid?
Really? Yeah, well, and I talked to him one time about morality, and he basically just admitted that well, I don't know all that. You know a lot, Damien, and I'm just a simple man. He's like, ridiculous. I'm a simple man, and I just believe, in stuff, and God says it, not I believe it. I'm like, oh, that's ridiculous. But I have a picture. You haven't seen the picture I have? I should post it again. I have a picture where I hold this sign that says with him in front of it, and it says it's called faith because it's not facts or reason. Totally punked his ass. Yeah, I'm gonna share it again now because it's freaking funny. Every time I share, it's funny. It's about 2 years ago now, but about a year, maybe a year and a half. Maybe I don't know. It's I don't remember exactly, but anyways. But it's still funny. It's funny as shit. Everyone thinks I like photoshopped it or something. No, dude. He was there, and I told him, hey, can we take a picture? And he goes, sure. Went to put my arm around him and go, hey, can I hold the sign? And I put the sign up. He saw the sign. He just laughed. He thought it was funny.
I was listening to this one thing. He was debating with the guy who hosts the Atheist Experience.
Yeah. So Matt Dillahunty?
Yeah, Matt. And had a little debate. It was just a phone conversation. And apparently, when it came to morality, he goes, oh, no, I believe atheists can be moral, of course. And it was just like every other question he agreed on it except when it came to evolution. That was his main. It's like that's what he's become known for. Is just there's no way evolution happened. That's what he's basically become. That's why I ever call him the Banana Man, because it's right in my hand.
Yeah, well, I know he made a Christian video with I think Kurt Cameron. And he's like, the banana. See how God, makes it perfect for us. Fits right in our hand. Yeah, it comes in its own package. Yeah, but
it's right in my mouth easily.
Yeah, just like the penis that I suck. But
got my wife cracking up over here.
Oh yeah. So but the truth is the banana actually was this little tiny thing about this big. It was only a couple inches. It wasn't like the banana we have now. So humans developed the banana to what we know now. And actually, there was a better banana before that we made, but the God or nature wiped it out. So now it was a sweeter, better banana. Now our bananas are more starchy, not as sweet. But actually, that I read a thing recently saying that those might actually die out too. There's another wave of stuff, nature happening. The reason it's dying out, especially, is because we invented it. But because we invented it, I believe that we could, if we really tried, keep it, or make a new one.
Yeah. Like I said, another thing that's been very pushed with me since I became an atheist was just like my outspokenness for the agreement of climate change. Like, I know I work in the oil industry, so it's even harder to talk about it. But I mean, that's one thing. Like I said, once I started learning how to take in facts, I started learning more stuff, and like the climate change, like we are causing stuff to go extinct, whether it be fruits, animals, vegetables. Like, we cause it because of how we either do our crops or because of, CO2 and all that, and methane. So that's one thing, like, I can see how I knew that we lost a lot of fruits and vegetables and all that stuff due to it. But you try and tell them that, no, God made the banana.
Right.
Actually, it was men who did this. There's more. It's like the apples you see we have. There actually used to be way more apples, but because they weren't so delicious, they went extinct because of us.
Yeah, like there used to be like little crab apples.
Oh yeah, there's so many. Like, I remember reading
I meant humans made the apple. All apples come from there used to be just a little tiny crab apple, and then humans made all these different varieties.
Damien, God made the apple.
Oh, of course, it fits in our hand, and it's easy to throw at people like Ray Comfort. No, I wouldn't throw it at him. He's an okay guy. I would just call him a liar for Jesus.
Yeah.
He's a liar. He knows better. He's just a liar.
But it's like, I got a few friends that are actually young Earth creations. They believe the Earth is 6,000 years old. And these are great guys. They're good friends of mine. We go fishing together, but man, while we're fishing, they'll sit there and go, "So Jimmy, what's it going to take to make you believe?" I was like, "Facts."
Yeah.
What's it going to take you? What's it going to take you to see the way I do? Oh, there's nothing that can change the way I think. Okay, then let's just fish. Let's not talk about it no more then.
Yeah. Well, I tell them facts. Yeah, facts are a lobotomy.
I mean, it's like how they just, it's so funny. Like, nothing you do will change the way I think. It's like, okay, then let's not talk about it anymore. No, I want to talk about it. Well, obviously you don't. You just said nothing will change your mind. I told you what will change my mind.
Exactly.
And I actually have a friend. He's a political science major. He, no matter how many times I tell him I'm an atheist, he goes, "No, you're agnostic." No, I'm not. He goes, "Well, then you don't think there is a God at all. Like, you're making a claim too." I was like, I'm not making a claim. I'm denying
Yeah.
your claim because you can't prove it. I said, that's it. And they go, well, do you think there could be one? I was like, I doubt it. I was like, but if you're talking about a creator deity, then maybe. And they're like, oh, well, then you're agnostic. I was like, no, because I don't live my life as if there is one. Because there's just no proof.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell them I'm an agnostic with an I, which means I doubt the concept of God has any meaning.
Agnostic with an I?
Uh-huh. Like, I can share a thing on that too. I talk about this a lot. So if they try, because the reason when they try to push you, well, you don't know. Well, actually, you don't even know what God is. God is 3-letter word that you keep adding meaning to out of nowhere. In other words, there's no difference between FOD and God, other than somebody says magical bullshit about whatever God's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So agnostic says, when you say, well, do you believe in God? And an agnostic will say, what do you mean by God? Yeah. Well, you know the creator of the universe. I don't know what you're talking about. Where is your evidence for this? That's
I got a friend who is like a big agnostic, like he's anti-religious, but he claims himself as an anti-religious theist, where he says he doesn't believe in any of the gods of the religions, now, present, or previous, but he doesn't know if he doesn't not know if there's a God or not. Like, he makes fun of me a lot because I just say, well, I'm an atheist, and he goes, well, so you know there's not a God? I was like, pretty certain there isn't one, because if there is one, he hasn't shown himself at all, like he hasn't left any clues that he did all this. He goes, well, what do you define as God? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I guess if I want to fit your definition, I guess the creator. And he goes, well, yeah, so there could be a creator. If you call the creator the Big Bang, isn't that God? Like, no, that's not. It's just the Big Bang.
Yeah, they're anthropomorphizing things. But that's what I'm saying is, but when someone says concept of God, you have to start lying or making stuff up or talk about something that someone else lied or made up. I mean, there's nothing. There's nothing attaches to that. And I've heard before someone say to me, oh, well, but everyone talks about they know what it is. Well, that doesn't make anything real. That doesn't even make me have to. You could talk about something like square circles. That wouldn't make a square circle possible. That wouldn't even allow me to understand what you're talking about. That's like, you know what I'm saying? You're talking about two things that cannot coexist.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just those two, how they'll sit there and tell me I'm agnostic, or then they make fun of me because they atheist. Like I said, I go back and forth. I was like, y'all just obviously don't understand what I'm coming off of. I was like, I live my life as an atheist because there is no evidence. There's none.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to say there's definitely no God, but I will say that if there is a God, that one has not done anything to show that he's around. So, I mean, as much as I sit there and tell people I will never say there is no God, I'm almost getting, like, the more research I do, I'm almost coming to 100% realization that there is no God. Like, basically, an anti-theist.
Well, yeah. An anti-theist could also be, even if there is a God, an anti-theist would say, I still hate that concept. I still hate that being. I still hate what it represents. I still hate religions that would support that being, real or otherwise. An anti-theist doesn't have to even be atheist. You can actually be a theist. You can believe in God and actually still be an anti-theist. A lot of people don't understand that word. Just like they think that anti-theist means anti-religion. It means anti-religions that are theist. It doesn't mean religions that are not theists or beliefs that are not theists. But I mean, usually it still would, but that's not really what it means. It only means anti-theism, not anti-religion. That's why I always tell people I'm an atheist, I'm an anti-theist, and I'm anti-religionist, because I'm all the above. But I also say I'm an agnostic with an I, because the concept of God is meaningless. You're just making shit up, talking bullshit.
Yeah.
Show me something or talk. Like when they say, oh, well, infinite love. Do you know anything that's infinitely love? Well, there's no conditions. You kidding me? The condition is that if you don't believe, then you go to hell. That's a condition. Do you know what no conditions means? That means no conditions.
You ever watched any of Deepak Chopra's stuff?
Oh, he's a fucking lunatic. That dude. Well, I mean, he sounds like it. He just blah blah blah, and because of space between your ears and this magical cosmos that goes and rolls in your eyes, and spins back in the amygdala of your brain and produces this thing called the spirit conscious. What I don't know, but that guy is just ridiculous.
That's good. I remember watching the thing, Richard Dawkins and him, Sam Harris and him were debating, and then a guy in the audience stood up and he goes, yeah, I'd like to actually teach Deepak about quantum physics because I'm actually a physicist.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw.
I heard you say you in love, and it just reminded me of Deepak Chopra.
Yeah, well, he's ridiculous. That dude's... He's nonsense.
How Richard Dawkins says, he goes, you mislead everybody by thinking just because you throw some big words in with some science that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. Can't stand that guy. I don't like anyone who deliberately goes out there and spreads more bullshit. Just like I really hate ancient aliens too. Stuff like that. That's fucking ridiculous. It's not even true. They say things that actually defy archaeology. And then they we don't follow traditional archaeology. Yeah, it's like saying you don't follow traditional science or traditional math. I don't use traditional math. I just make the shit up. I don't use traditional English language. I'm going to make up words that have no meaning and call it English. I mean, dude, come on.
They're
charlatans. Dude, they're like, and then this is not respected, because they want to hide something. Really? Because I've never heard that ever. I've read tons. Dude, archaeologists cannot wait to show something if it proves something. You got to be kidding me. That makes their fame. Why would they hide anything?
Well, that's just like with scientists, whether it's, biologists or climatologists and all that. Like, it's funny that everyone who denies what these scientists say, they go, oh, well, they have a hidden motive. They just want money to keep rolling. And like, Jesus, guys, they're scientists. Like, they get off on finding out the truth. Like, why do you think they're just lying to y'all? Like,
Well, it would also to think they're actually believe. So a lot of those is funny too, because a lot of them you ask, does the government do a good job? They'd be like, oh no, the government's all messed up. They don't know what they're doing. Okay, but then you believe there's a world conspiracy that is running like a hot-oiled machine that you think makes no errors, that everyone's on the same page, all climate change. But yet you don't even believe that a government, your own government, could manage things. But yet you think that every government in the world are all working together. Come on!
It's just like how they don't know how to run a country. This country's going in debt, but yet they could pull off the greatest, most elaborate attack on America that they've ever seen. The 9/11 thing. Oh man, our government sucks, but pulled off 9/11, and that to me is conspiracy. Like, it's evident what did 9/11. It was underlying issue.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to conspiracy theories, to me that's what I consider religion. Religion is conspiracy theories of reality. That's what it is. Yeah. It's trying to say that reality is something different than it is. Like people always ask me, so all you believe in is what you see? And I go, that's what you believe in too. What are you talking about? I said, if I told you there's a space alien right down there, down the street, would you actually come with me thinking that we're going to find one? They're like, no. And I go, well, and why not? They go, because it's not true. I go, and you know it's not true because of why? Well, because that's not how the world works, you know. Yes. See, that's what I'm saying. That's all I do. Exactly.
No, I hear you, buddy. Well,
It's been good talking to you. So does your wife want to do an interview? Not right this second, but...
Dan? You want to talk to Damien? You say hi to him? This is my wife. Let's go.
Okay.
This is my wife.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Damien.
How are you?
Good. So I was asking, would you like to do an interview too?
I mean, yeah, I'm not opposed to it.
Okay, great. And we can set one up. I can do it. I can shut his down and then start one for you if you would like right now, or I could do it another time. It's up to you.
Yeah, we can schedule it for another time. That would be great.
Great. And so then just answer the questions that he already knows, or I can send it to you. Are you on Facebook?
I'm not.
You're not? Okay. I'll send it to him then.
She's on Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. So I'll send it to you, Jimmy, or, if you already have them, right? You already have the questions?
Yeah, I got them.
Yeah, just have her answer the questions, and then tell me her name and stuff, so and give me a picture so I can make a meme for it.
Gotcha. Well, this is Madeline.
Hi, Madeline.
Hi.
You'll do good.
Okay.
All right, Damien.
All right.
Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you. Okay.